Razabani for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. I'm delighted to have with me finally, after chasing him down late night here in the UK, but early hours in New Zealand, my man, former heavyweight champion of the world, Joseph Parker. Joe, it's been a minute.
Yo, it's been a minute, but we finally locked it in and we made it. Here we are.
And you came on like 40 minutes earlier than I expected.
Listen, I like to be on time. I mean, if you're on time, you're late. But if you're early, then you're early.
Joe, firstly, how are you? How's the family? How's lockdown in New Zealand?
Yeah, thanks for asking. The family's good. We're pretty blessed. It's good to spend quality time as a family while we're here in New Zealand in lockdown. We've been in lockdown for nearly 5 weeks now. So it has been difficult just to be. I mean, it's difficult for a lot of people, and I'm sure you guys understand the lockdown because you guys had it as well. So it is quite hard at times, but it's you've got to make the most of the opportunity just to be together and hang out as a family.
Joe, obviously a big announcement earlier this week that you are returning back to your favorite country in the world, the UK, to fight once again, rematch with Derek Chisora. But before we talk about that particular fight and why you're taking that fight, I know it was a very small, short count with Andy Lee initially for the first Chisora fight. A lot of people had the fight quite close. Some people had you winning, some people had Derek winning. How did you kind of look back on that fight and assess it?
When I look back at the fight and assess it, I feel that I did enough to win. And like you say, a lot of people thought he won. A lot of people thought it should have been a draw. And a lot of people thought I won. So there's mixed emotions about the fight and about the result. The camp wasn't the longest camp. It was, I went from training with Kevin and fighting Junior Father into flying to Dublin, meeting Andy for the first time, going over to Morecambe and training with him. And just, it was a whole new experience. And it was, it was a great experience. But I feel like with a longer camp and better lead time into a fight, I think we would have been able to work on more things and cemented more things that, we've been practicing. And there's no excuses. For the next fight with Chisora, we're going to have a better camp. So a better camp means I should look better and I should be able to implement the things that we're working on a lot better.
And also, obviously, based on your performance, did you want to just spend more time with Andy as well? I know you want to come here as soon as possible, but you've got current restrictions, but you want to win more convincingly and show people that the first time wasn't a fluke.
Oh, yeah, the first fight, if I don't do a lot better than I did in the first fight, then I really just have to step back and look at myself as a heavyweight and what I'm doing. And, if I still have what it takes to get to the top. I mean, the first fight was a close fight, and the second fight should be a lot better from my side. And, I just got to go in there and, with the longer time, again, we should work on a lot of things together and improve and show it. Let the hands go and show it.
Joe, how difficult is Derek in the ring? We know he's almost like a bull. He doesn't stop coming forward in your face all the time, aggressive, loves that overhand right. He's been in there with some, with Tyson Fury twice. He's been in there with Vitaly Klitschko, went 12 rounds with him. He's been around a lot. He's got 10 plus losses in 33, 34 fights, on top of my head. But he's still able to compete at the highest level. What is it about Derek when he's in the ring?
I feel like Derek's got this, he's got that, I don't care attitude. I'm just going to come for you. I'm going to come for you. I'm going to chase you down and I'm going to throw everything I have. And I think he's got the attitude where I will take you out, I'm going to own you. And that's the attitude that I should be going into the fight with, But he's just constant pressure and just backs himself and lets his hands go. He throws a lot of punches in fights, as you saw with my fight, Usyk fight, and he's had good wins as of recent times, not with my fight and Usyk fight, but he's had a good win. So he's always there to give it everything he has.
Joe, what about you in the UK? I remember you coming here for Hughie Fury, coming here for Anthony Joshua, coming back for Whyte, coming back again for Derek Chisora. I spoke to Otto Wallin a couple of days ago, and he was super excited about coming to the UK against Dillian Whyte, which we'll speak about shortly. But he was like, I can't wait to fight in front of the UK fans. What is it about you and the love for the UK?
The UK doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like a new place. I mean, after the Hughie fight, and there's a lot of support from the UK, and we always feel welcomed. And you know, it was just it feels like another place that I can call home. You know, because I've been there so many times. And you know, the fans and the supporters. You know, when you walk in, you know, just walk into the shop and hey, all the best, man. Can't wait to see you fight. Can't wait to see you do well. Like just you know, kindness from everyone. So I love just to come back to the UK and train, have camp there, and then you know, leading into the fight, it's going to be a lot more excitement. Things are going to start picking up, and we'll see a lot more of the supporters come through.
And Joe, obviously, I'm sure you don't want to just take part in boxing for the sake of just taking part, but you obviously want to earn to your full capacity and also become another or win another version of the heavyweight title as well. There's a couple of big heavyweight fights happening over the next couple of weeks. Have you got your eye on them, and potentially next year you want to put yourself back in the mix of those top 5 heavyweights?
Yeah, you always got your eye on the heavyweights at the top, but most of the focus will be on the fight in front of you, because you know there's that saying we can't look too far ahead, otherwise you know the person in front of you will own you. So most of my focus is going to be on Derek, but you're always looking ahead and seeing what's available and what's the pathway you can take to get to that title.
Okay, Joe, just want to get your opinion on a couple of the heavyweight fights that are taking place over the next couple of weeks, as I mentioned. We've been deprived of big-time boxing across the world, in the States, in the UK. We thought Wilder Fury was going to happen earlier, it didn't. We then thought Joshua Fury was going to happen, and it didn't. But you know what it's like when anti-Joshua fights. You've been involved in fight week. I remember spending some time with you in London, then we went to Cardiff, and it was just crazy. Every day was just crazy, and we had some good times. But Usyk comes in, a former undisputed cruiserweight champion, an Olympic gold medalist, a ring craftsman, a man who possesses unbelievable ability as a boxer. How much is he going to be a threat to the power, the size, and a proper heavyweight in Anthony Joshua?
I feel like Usyk's going to be a big threat. I mean, just like you say, his background, he was the champion. You know, he was the champion, the unified champion of the world, and he hasn't experienced a loss. And I guess leading into this fight, he's going to have the best preparation. He's going to do everything right. Both guys are going to do everything right. I just feel that with Joshua, though, with his height, reach, and size advantage, I think he might get the better of Usyk. But it's going to be a fight that a lot of people are calling a 50-50 fight, and people won't be surprised if Usyk pulls it off.
Quite a few pictures of Anthony Joshua recently. It looks like he slimmed down. I saw a couple of interviews today on Sky Sports where they talked about potentially Anthony Joshua might be coming in at the lightest ever. What do you think of that potentially happening and him coming in light? And if he does come in light, it looks like he might move around and attempt to box more than Usyk. Yeah.
I mean, listen, if that's the plan that they have as a team for him to get lighter and for him to come out and box and move, I guess they must really have a good plan in place, and if he executes it well, that's the goal for every fighter, to go out and execute the plan and get a good win.
We know obviously we're all dying to have that undisputed fight, but sometimes we know politics and promoters not wanting to work with each other and networks don't want to work with each other can get in the way. But how much do we have to respect Anthony Joshua for continuously fighting the best potential fighter? A lot of people that's in front of him, a lot of people thought that he was going to move away from Usyk. Usyk was too dangerous, but he keeps on proving. And outside of there's not that many heavyweight contenders that can say that they have a resume that matches to Anthony Joshua's.
Yeah. His resume is a big and good one, and you got to show him respect for taking all the fights that come his way, all the challenges, and a lot of fighters out there, there is the chance where they can't beat him, and a lot of people will say he's going to win or he's going to win, but he's always proved everyone wrong. So you got to respect him for taking every single fight there is, every hard fight.
And it's also important as well, Joe, for like fighters. You know, when you talk about the great fighters of our time and of previous generations, and you look at, for example, Sugar Ray Leonard, who had multiple losses, but yet after 25, 30 years of him fighting, we still regard him as one of the greatest that came from that generation, even with someone who had so many losses. So do fighters need to stop worrying about losing that and fight the best and create their legacies?
Yeah, a lot of fighters do worry. I think they see Floyd Mayweather and they see, oh, listen, he's got the perfect record. He hasn't had a loss. He's had all wins. And then they sort of, a lot of fighters base that on, you know, I can't lose the fight because if I lose, it'll be very bad for me. And I can't have that, you know, that perfect record. It's not about having the perfect record. It's about fighting the best, giving it your everything, and just doing the best you can in boxing while you're in the sport.
What's your final prediction? Does it go 12 rounds?
I think there's a stoppage. You know, just don't know who. You know, I said I'm leaning towards Joshua, but listen, you never know. Boxing is one of those sports where everyone knows that anything can happen.
Obviously, a few weeks later, we've got the trilogy that we've been waiting for as well in Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder teamed up with Malik Scott, and someone you know very well because you've used Malik many times in your camps. Deontay looks like a different fighter from what we can see from the offset. Do you expect a different challenge for Tyson?
I expect a different challenge for Tyson. I feel like Wilder's one of the fighters at the moment where he's just got nothing to lose, and he's, you know, he's changed up his camp, and you see from the little snippets that they are showing online and on social media that there's some good positive changes. So you're not sure what kind of Wilder's going to come in to this next fight.
What do you expect the result to be?
I think it'll be a good fight, and I back Tyson Fury to win, but I think it's going to be a very close fight.
Another man you fought here in London at the O2 Arena, Dillian Whyte takes on Otto Wallin. Obviously, this is for the WBC interim title, I believe. Rumors were that Dillian was going to fight Chris Arreola, but it seemed like Otto Wallin is probably a tougher challenge for Dillian, and another fighter who doesn't shy away from fighting the big names. But Otto's hungry. I spoke to him a couple of days ago, and he goes, "Listen, I'm waiting. This is my opportunity. Come to the UK and show the UK fans what I'm about, and I'm the real deal." Is he going to pose a big threat to Dillian?
I think he's going to be I mean, you know, with the fights that he has had, you can see, you know, he always comes in ready. He comes in fit, and he's a little bit awkward too, you know. So, you know, listen, it's one of those fights where Dillian Whyte's always progressing and fighting the best and keep winning and waiting for his chance to get to the world title. But this is also another fight that I feel, you know, there's risk. I mean, every fight's a risk, but with Otto Wallin and what he presents, I think it's going to be a tough fight. Did
you watch the David Haye comeback a couple of weeks ago, Joe?
I watched little snippets on. I mean, I don't know what did it TKO?
No, went the full distance, 8 rounds.
Full distance. I mean, he knocked him down in the first round that I saw, and I watched a few other. But yeah, what did you think?
I mean, it was an exhibition for what I thought. But then afterwards, he goes on the mic and he called out Tyson Fury. Yeah. And he's genuinely serious. David Haye was genuinely serious about coming back into the ring to fight Tyson Fury. Do you give him much of a chance if he was to come back?
You give everyone a chance. You know, he with the background that he's had and all the fight experience, he always going to give him a chance. And also because he keeps himself in great shape. You know, I know a lot of fighters do have their careers and retire and then come back again and retire and come back again. So it just makes it, I don't know, makes it interesting, and just, you know, fights that can be made that people don't think can be made because, you know, they think they're retired, but just adds to the sport, I guess.
Okay, Joe, I don't want to take too much of your time. I know you're getting ready for a session, maybe, I think, or you've just had a session, I'm not sure. But appreciate you jumping on early morning and giving me a little bit of time. Normally it's the other way around. You make me get up early, so it's about time in your end. So for once, I can go to bed rather than, you know, have breakfast in the morning. So
I just want to pop it around today, so appreciate you staying up late. I know it's past your bedtime.
Joseph Harker, IFL TV, thank you very much.
Thank you, bro.